Hi guys, this is Crazy Cute Lily from Imvu. Today I want to teach you how to make wrinkles for clothing. I'm using Photoshop CS6. I've already got a pre-made shirt template up, so let's just get started. Okay, first off you want to do is create a new layer, and how you do that is one of two ways. You can go layer new and create a new layer that way. Or you can go down to the bottom of your Photoshop, and near the trash can in your layers section there's a page that looks like it's folded up. Just press that and that will give you a new layer. Okay, next you want to make sure that your colors, your foreground is black and your background is white. And on that new layer, make sure that it's clicked. We're going to rename it, so I'm just going to double click and name it Front Wrinkles. It's always good to know which one's which, because it'll help in the end. Okay, so I want to grab a decent sized brush, not too big and not too small. I think I'm going to go with a maybe a 6. Looks good. Okay, and now I'm just going to start adding some lines. Now I want all these lines to be similar in direction, so I'm just gonna add them. I don't want them up and down for this technique, just similar direction. Not too far apart, not too close together either. And I think I'll add one more right there. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to copy this layer. So for Photoshop users, Control J will copy the layer. And now I've got 2 layers there, and what I want to do is change the top layer to white. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to go Control U, which will bring up my hue saturation, and all I'm going to do is turn my lightness all the way up to white and then press OK. And now I've got the white layer and the black layer. So what I want to do next is I'm going to pull the bottom layer and I'm going to pull it down just so it's sitting just below the white layer. Sometimes you'll pull too far, so if you want to keep it so that it doesn't go too far, if you hold Control, then you have more control of where you're moving it, where you're going to put the lines. Now you want it just barely, so it's barely below. So now we've got the white layer and then we got the black layer underneath. Now what you want to do is, holding Shift, you want to click the 2 copies of the wrinkles, and then you do Control E, which will merge the 2 layers together. Okay, now we're going to go up to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. Now with this Gaussian Blur, you want it to be just barely blurred. It's all personal preference, but you still want to be able to see the little bit of the dark black underneath. So I'm going to go with a radius of probably 2.6 to 2.8 looks good to me. Then you're going to go Filter, Blur, Motion Blur. Now you want the angle to be at 0 because we're going horizontal. And depending on how far you want these wrinkles to reach and how smudged you want them, the distance, I'm probably going to go with a 36 looks good to me, so I'm going to go OK. Now we've got some wrinkles, but we still have to actually put them onto the clothing. So what I'm going to do is make sure that this layer is actually below my template layer there. And I am going to fiddle with the thing here. My brain just went blank. And I can put it at overlay. To me that still looks like it looks too too definite, too defined. So I'm going to move it down a bit, the opacity down. And as you can see now that it's starting to take shape as wrinkles there. And put it back up. Yeah, that looks about good. So we've got some front wrinkles, so you can move them around and stuff. Now, I know a lot of people have issues with doing the back wrinkles. Okay, so in order to do that, we're going to just click off the front wrinkles, and to do the back wrinkles, we are going to create another new layer and do the same thing. We're going to put some lines up the back here. So we're going to grab our brush, a little bit smaller I think this time, and I'm just going to start putting some lines. I don't like the shape of that one, so I'm going to go back a little bit. There we go. Okay, so 6. So I'm just going to put some lines in here. Not too far, not too close together, just some basic lines. Now, the size of your brush is all up to you, how fat you want the wrinkles, whatever. I'm just doing this, of course I pay more attention if we were to do it for the other, like for real. So I want Control J, create another layer, then Control U, which would bring up my hue saturation and turn it to white. I'm going to take the black layer and I'm going to pull it down underneath this white layer again, just so it's barely there. And then I'm going to highlight the 2 layers, which is I hold Shift and click the 2 layers I want to put together. Then I do Control E, which will merge the layers again. And then we do Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And I like the blur from the last time, so I'm going to keep it. And then Filter, Blur, Motion Blur. And now we've got the wrinkles there. I'm just going to play with that a little bit. Okay. Now we want to move it down. Now this is one side, so we've got the one side done. So we're going to I'm going to set it to overlay, and I'm going to move the wrinkles down, the percentage down a little bit. Now we've got the one side, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, how am I going to do the other side? Well, this is super easy. So what we're going to do is Control J again, which will copy the layer. Oh, my Photoshop froze. Alright, so it'll copy the layer, and now what we want to do is go to Edit, Transform, and Flip Horizontal. Now it flipped the layer that we just copied horizontal, and what we want to do is hold Shift, or click the layer first, then hold Shift, and you can drag it directly across. Now this will line up so that your back wrinkles will both line up. And now you just look at it, and they still look too sharp to me. And so I'm going to bring the opacity down of both of them to say about 21. You want to make sure that both your back wrinkles, the opacity matches for them. I'm going to turn my front wrinkles back on, and I think I'm going to bring that down to 21 as well. And there you go. Now we've got some wrinkles for the shirt, and all you would have to do is save the file as normal and then upload. Hope this helps you guys, and have a good night.